Where are we, team? Which topic are we done with? So yesterday I have given you a few metal links for your practice. Hope you are practicing the same. So now coming back to our topics. So we are done with Java Fundamentals module and we have started OOPS module where we are done with classes and objects. Right, team? Yes. So now we will have to go with the next topic. So team, other questions, ADIDs, other things we will discuss later. Okay, we will start the topic now. We will try to discuss the topic and then we will go with questions to the end. Okay. Metals shows access denied. Try to change the credentials. Okay. You give any location, any dummy details you can give in metal. Right. So yes, that's for your practice. I have shared that links. It would be good if you practice that. So first, just give me 2 minutes. I'll just open PBL app and I will share my screen. Sriram, yes, project in Java fundamentals. Yes, you will have to do it. You'll have to do Java fundamentals project also. Once you are done with all the hands-on, you will have to do the respective modules mini project as well. College exam. Orientation sessions are very much important. You please join those sessions. Get all your queries answered with respect to your, whatever regarding whatever is discussed in that. Just important. Just try to understand what is discussed over there. College exams, leave for 2 days. Okay. Fine. Those who have exams. Probably, I think definitely that's on priority. Yes, you can give your exams and then during the weekend ensure you work on these list topics. I'm just sharing the screen. Just give me 2 minutes, team. So team, I just shared my screen. All of you are able to see the screen? Yes, right? Okay. So, great. So firstly, in the last session, we have discussed about classes and objects, right? So now we are clear that what is a class, right? How do you create objects? The syntaxes. We have discussed about the constructors. We have discussed about this keyword. We have discussed about static members, static variables, static methods, static blocks. Hope all of you remember the same. So now let us go with the next thing in OOPS, that is features. So encapsulation, abstraction, polymorphism, inheritance, so all of them are called as the features of OOPS, basically object-oriented programming. Okay, so let us understand them now one by one. So all of you please concentrate. Okay, so to start with, this object-oriented programming is a programming paradigm which uses objects consisting of data fields, and methods. So we have already seen, isn't it, team? So whenever we are creating object, so basically we are trying to get for whatever variables that were declared in a class, where the data field, they are what referred as data fields there, and the methods which you are defining in the class. So you are trying to bind them together, right, team? So objects consisting of data fields and methods together with their interactions. So this is what we have seen already in the last session using calculator class and by creating the objects, right, team? So it is used to design applications and computer programs. So programming technique may include features like encapsulation, abstraction, polymorphism, and inheritance. So what is this encapsulation? So encapsulation is about hiding the implementation levels, and abstraction is exposing only the interface. So when you say encapsulate, that means you wanted to hide your data members. Right, team? So when you say that you wanted to hide your data members, say, let us say variables. So there are some questions, team, with respect to other citrics or whatever, that, as I said earlier, I'm just repeating, we will take up those, questions later, PBL app or ADIDs or these other things we will take later. Anything, whatever I'm discussing here, okay, regarding the topic, whatever questions you have regarding this topic which we are discussing, please put your questions in the chat, okay, but not related to anything else. Hope you all are understanding. Okay, so once we are into the topic, you also have to be into the topic. It's not only me. You also try to get into the topic. Only then you will be benefited. You unnecessarily waste your time thinking about something else, when I'm teaching something. Neither you'll get answer nor you'll understand this topic. It is just that you are wasting your own precious time. Hope you all will, try to follow it. Alright. So let us just try to understand this encapsulation with our very own calculator program team. So all of you remember that we have created calculator program. So in calculator we have created instance variables, isn't it, team? What are the instance variables that we have declared in calculator class in the last session? So hope all of you remember this is what we have been discussing on the other day, right? Calculated and calculated demo. So now what is encapsulation here? Encapsulation is to hide your implementation levels. Writing and abstraction is to expose only the interfaces. So now how do you hide? So basically there are access specifiers, or you call it as access modifiers. What are those? Public, private, and we will discuss about other protected and all later. But for now, just consider that we have two things, public and private. Okay. So now, by default, here it considers the default, which means it is available to access in complete class and also in other classes. That means in calculator demo, are we referring this X team? Yes, right? We are referring X here, C1.X. Right? So now you wanted to encapsulate it. You wanted to hide it. So how can you hide your X and Y? Just to ensure that this is my private members X and Y, and I wanted to use them or refer them only in my current class, which is calculator. That means only in calculator Y visible, available for manipulations, but I don't want to give access to anybody else. Even you create a object to my class, I don't wanted to give the implementation details this way. I wanted to hide them. I wanted to encapsulate X and Y. So how do I do it here? By saying private. So when I say that I wanted to encapsulate, so basically I wanted to hide them. So by default, you will have access. Whenever you don't give any access specifier here, that means it is default. Default means it will be available, in other classes. So this is another class, right? Calculated demo. So I was able to refer X here by creating object to my calculated class. Now once I have made this private, let me save it. Now what did we notice here, team? Here we have noticed that there comes an error. What does it say? Change the visibility of X2 package, or the field calculator.x is not visible. Are you getting, team? So this X is now no more visible. You cannot directly access this X. Are you all getting, team? So this is what about making it private. Now, how do you assign the values? Okay, you said you wanted to encapsulate it, you wanted to hide it, you don't wanted to make your members X and Y available to other classes. But what is the workaround provided? So how do I pass X and Y values? Because here it now doesn't allow me and it throws an error. So what is that? We have to now create the respective, let's create here, setters and getters. So for all your private members, you can always create setters and so first we are talking about encapsulation. We are trying to achieve it using keyword called private, which is the access specifier or access modifier. And now we will discuss about setters and getters. What are these setters and getters? Team, is my voice not clear to you all? Am I audible now? Yes. Okay, thanks. Thanks, team. Thanks for your responses. Right. So now the next thing is about getters and setters. So to implement encapsulation concept, you have to use this private access modifier. And when you are making your data members as private, then you will have to give a workaround. Then how do you access this X and Y? If not directly, then you should provide some way, and that is what using setters and getters. Okay. So like for example, here I wanted to assign value. That means I wanted to set 4 to X variable. Now it is throwing error. So how do I resolve it? So I have to create a setter for this X. So what is that setter? So that getter, setter means assigning the value, getter means retrieve the value. Okay. So for that you can come here, go to source, and you can see here generate getters and setters. Hope it is clear to you all. If you go to source, you will find generate getters and setters. So select this getters and setters here, and you can check for whatever variables you wanted to generate your getters and setters. So for now, my private variables are X and Y, so I just wish to generate the getters and setters for these two. So getters and setters are nothing but they are just the methods. Okay, so now instead of me directly accessing X and Y using calculator objects C1.X or C1.Y, instead, now I will access them via these getters and setters. That means basically I'll do a method call instead of directly accessing my private members. Okay, and click generate. So what did it generate here, team, if you notice? Just generated these things. What are these things? So these things. Okay, so firstly, get X. Get X means it will return the value of X. And the same way, set X. Set X means it will assign the value. So whatever 4 you are assigning here, now you will assign that 4 by calling that set method. So set X and you will pass 4. So that 4 will be now they available in local variable X. And this dot X will refer what, team? This dot X will refer my instance variable. This is my instance variable X. So X equals to this local value, whatever 4 you are passing here. Now the same way for Y. Get Y means it will return the value of Y, and set Y means you are assigning a value to your variable Y. Are you all getting, team? So getters and setters are nothing but methods which will help in accessing your private variables. Okay, by returning the value, we say it as getter because we can fetch the value, we can get the value by returning using return keyword, and we can assign the value, set the value using set method. Okay. So now what should I do here, team? So instead of calling X, what should I call here? You can just remove this and say C1 dot. You can see get X means retrieving, but we wanted to assign 4, so you have to say set X. Okay, so here you can assign that value 4. Is that clear, team? So this method is not private, right? This is default. So with public, which means it is available to other classes. So in calculator demo class, I can call this set X method. The same way here, I will need to say set Y. Okay. So wherever you are referring, X and Y, there you can say set. So this is for object 2. This is for object 2. I think it is set Y, right? Hope it is clear to you all, team. What is the use of encapsulation if we want to take values? This is all about security. Are you getting team? So it is all about security. You wanted to secure your code. You wanted to secure your data members by giving private. Okay. So you have to just go through it once again, team, so that you'll gain confidence. Okay. So encapsulation is all about. So here you see an example. You are using, say there is a bike. So here you see brake system components. Is everything visible, team? All the implementations are made available to you. No. Whatever are required, only those things are made available, isn't it? That is basically called as abstraction. But you wanted to hide them, isn't it, team? So that hiding is what done with the help of this private. So this is an example of brake system. Like here, how we are, giving access only to the ones which are required, and rest of the things you are hiding. So just the same way, even here, you don't want it to many questions. That is what I am doing. I am explaining again. Please concentrate. So just like this example, the same way, even in your programs, you don't want it to expose everything to the outside world. Okay. You may want it to hide the things as part of security. Right? So just to implement that, we have got something called as private. Okay. So any data, any sensitive data which you don't want it to give access, any data, since these members might be holding some sensitive data, so you don't want it to take, these variables. We don't want it to expose them to the outside world. Outside world means anything other than calculator class. So calculator demo is the outside world for calculator. So to make it not accessible directly, you give it as private. Are you getting it? All of you? So this is about private here. So here there is another example point using set X and get set Y the same way. Okay. So the private access specifier is generally used to encapsulate or hide the member data in the class, and public access specifier is to expose the member function as interfaces to the outside world. So by default, we are already following this public. So now we are trying to understand this private. Okay, so this is a similar example like whatever calculator that we have just discussed. Okay. Right. Now, let us go with the next topic, inheritance. So, inheritance is very, very important, and it is the very core feature of your OOPS concept. So, what is inheritance basically? You inherit your, parental properties, the facial, the physical appearance, or, whatever the properties you possess, you basically have inherited from your parents. Isn't it, team? This is what the example about, how people, the children inherit the properties from their parents, the way they look, the same way. Now, the same way, what will happen is that even in Java, there is a concept called inheritance where we wanted to inherit some of the properties of one class to another class. So basically it is about reusing. Okay. So I have a business requirement where, I have defined, say I have my class where I have defined two methods. One is for login and the other is for registration. Two methods are defined. Now, the same login and registration is required for my another business requirement when I am implementing. But I have some additional features also, not only just login and registration. I have some additional feature also. Then what is that I can do, team? So basically, I can actually inherit, isn't it, team? So I don't want it to rewrite the same code again and again. Rather, I will write whatever the new feature is there. Say, for example, you have your Facebook and you have your Instagram. Okay. So I'm not very sure, but do you use the same credentials for same login for Facebook and Instagram? What's your answer, team? Do you use the same? Yes. But Instagram has its own new features, yes or no? Instagram is not just a mere copy of Facebook, but it has some of the properties of Facebook, right? So, when I wanted to create, implement another business requirement for Instagram, but that was already implemented. So the same login, I wanted to use for Instagram, but login is already defined for Facebook. Okay, so I don't want to redefine all those modules again and again. Right, team? So what I can do here, I have already one class with Facebook class which has login method defined. Now what I will do, instead of creating a new method once again in my Instagram class, what I will do, I will just create this Instagram as a child class for my Facebook class, and I would say that I am going to reuse that login here. I don't want it to have a separate feature for login, rather I will just reuse. I'm not going to redefine again, boss. So I call my Instagram as the child of my parent Facebook. But Instagram has come up with its own features, isn't it, team? So, what are the new features? So let me say some, what is that, status or whatever, post, whatever you have, right, team? So, those new methods are what you are interested. So whatever new shots, whatever you are creating, those are what you wanted to define, which are specific to Instagram. It's a feature of Instagram which is not available in Facebook. Are you getting, team? Hope all of you are getting right the importance of inheritance. So when you say inheritance, you inherit the properties of your parent class to your child class, but your child can have, so that whatever already defined in your parent class, you're not going to define again, but directly you use that and you define your own new features, whatever specific to you. Okay. So now how do you build that parent-child relationship here from class to class? Okay. So the concept is inheritance. So to build that relationship, very good, it is extends keyword. So let us just directly go with it. Is this is classes demo, right? This is what I will do. I have this calculator already available. Now I wanted to just inherit this. So otherwise I'll do one thing. I'll just create new package because here we have many things. To make it simple, I'll just go for new package here and let me have my inheritance. So new class. This is my first parent class. Okay. So I will say parent. Okay. So in my parent class, I have defined a few methods. So let me say void and the method name is login. Okay. So let us just have simple print statement for now. Let's say parent login. Writing done. Okay. So now I'll go for creating a new class here. And now this is my child class. Let us say child. Click finish. So now you wanted to build a relationship between parent and child where you say that this child, now they are individual classes. Parent is an individual class, child is an individual class. So child also has its requirement such a way that it also has the same login to be implemented, to be defined. But it is already defined once. I don't want it to redefine again. It is the same feature, just like how I am reusing Facebook login to my Instagram login, or basically registration, right? So what I will do now, I just need to simply say extends which class. So you have to give your parent class. My parent class name is nothing but parent. So now you need not to define this login again here. Rather, this will automatically be available, be inherited to your child class. Now, whatever new features are there for you to define, just define only those. All of you are getting team? Okay. So, let me just say what is name one new feature which is specific to Instagram. I'm a bad user of this Instagram and all. What is that? I can say some highlights. There are many things, right? Tags, reels. I'll say a reel. This is nice. Okay. So this is specific to only my Instagram. Okay. So let me just give one dummy statement, dummy print statement, and say this is child. Okay. Is that clear, team? So this is how you create your parent class, and then this is your parent class, and this is your child class. Extends is the keyword you use to build the relationship between your parent class and child class. So now let us create our main method, like how we had for calculator demo. Now we shall have one inheritance demo here with the main method to execute. So let me just say with main method. So we have already understood classes and objects concept. So if I wanted to now, run either login or the real method, what do I need to do, team? I need to create an object. So let me just say child C1 wants to move. So now when I say C1 dot, what all are available here, team? Can you see login is there? But is login defined in child class? No. But still you are able to call this login. The reason is that it has inherited this login method from its a parent class, which is parent here. So real is its own defined method. So now I can run this and see that I get to see. So it is only the child class. Nowhere I have referred parent class, but still I'm able to get my parent login and child real method. Okay. So if you create your parent class, then you can invoke only your parent class login. You cannot invoke your child class real from your parent class object. No, not possible. Is that clear to you all, team? Can you repeat one more time? See, I have taken the most realistic example, Facebook and Instagram, so that you all people will at least put your brain and try to understand something. Okay, and still you say repeat again. I don't know, maybe I'm not, in sync with the current generation then. Right? So anyways, I'm just repeating. So inheritance is the concept of, inheriting the properties of one class to another class. And the base class is what called as, from where you wanted to inherit the properties, that class is called as base class or super class or parent class. Okay. And the class which is inheriting the properties of parent class is called as child class or subclass. Is that clear to you all? Okay. So, whenever you create your parent class here and any other class you wanted to extend from that parent class, you have to give extends your parent class name. And you can define only the new methods which are specific to child class, but it will automatically inherit the parent class method. This login will be automatically inherited to the child class. How did we notice that? Because with child class object, I am able to call login, but login is ideally nowhere defined in my child class. It is defined in my parent class. I am able to refer my parent class login method via child class object. The reason is that my child class is extending from this parent class. Okay. So let us now come back. So inheritance is one of the cornerstones of OOPS because it allows for creation of hierarchical classification. So now a parent can have how many children? n number of children, right? So the same way you can inherit multiple, multiple classes can actually inherit this parent class. Like I say this is child 1 extends parent. The same way I can create one more class, child 2 extends parent, child 3 extends parent. Okay. Or I can also do this way. So let me just take paint. So let me say that this is my parent class A. Okay. And now when I wanted to create child classes, this is how I resemble. Okay. I can create n number of child classes. Okay. So this is my child class. Let me say B. This is my C. This is my D. So what is that I just need to write here? I just need to say extends. Okay, the same thing here also it should extend. Extend. Okay. Now this is one thing. Now the another thing is I might have one more child class. It is like your grandparent, your parent, and yourself. So you have your grandparent class extending. Your parent is extending from your grandparent, and you are extending. You are the child of your parent. Okay. So here, so this way you can have multi-level hierarchy. This is called as what? Multi-level hierarchy. Okay, and I'll just name this class as E. And this again, it can have one more child, and that can have another one more child. Are you getting team? But the one thing which is not possible here is multiple inheritance. What is multiple inheritance? So multiple inheritance means one class trying to inherit from two parents, which is not possible here. Okay. So what is the ambiguity that you get here is, say for example, I have another class. Let me say I have another class here. I'll just say it as F here. So let me say F here. Now what will happen, team, if I am trying to extend, I'm trying to create E class by extending from D and also extending from F. The issues or the ambiguities that raise here is that in D I might have defined login. Okay, and in F also I might have defined login. And when I'm extending both of them to E, with now E will have to execute this login method or this login method. There is an ambiguity here, right team? So that is the reason you cannot extend from two different classes. You can always extend from only one class. But we have an alternative approach to this, that is what called as interfaces, that we'll discuss about it later. Okay, so I'll just do Control C. So you cannot do that. Multiple inheritance is not supported. Okay, so this is what. Single inheritance means this. A to B, single inheritance. A to C, single inheritance. A to D, single inheritance. Multi-level inheritance is A to D and D to E. This is multi-level inheritance. Okay? Right? So these are some of the things, whatever we have discussed, right? So the same relationships and all. So I don't want it to confuse you. So this is how you can extend. Okay? So now the next thing is about using super. So we have already seen this keyword, yes or no team? This will refer to what? Current class, isn't it team? So the same way now we get to understand one more keyword, super. Super will refer to what? Super class or parent basically. Okay. So like how we have seen this of, this dot we have seen, the same way this we can use this method in constructor so that it will work current class constructor. So basically super also you can call, your super class, parent class constructors or parent class methods. So we will try to understand that. The creation and initialization of the superclass object is a prerequisite to create for the creation of the subclass object. So when we were actually saying here child C1 equals to new child, what are the things you think that are happening? Is it creating only the child class directly C1? The answer is no. There are multiple steps that are being done when you are creating your child class object. What are those multiple steps? These are the things. First, it creates its superclass object. What is its superclass objective? Parent. So first it creates its a parent class object. How do you get to know? So parent class object means what team? Parent P1 equals to new parent. So if there is any constructor, it will execute, right? So let me just write a constructor for my parent. Parent. This is out space. Parent constructor. Okay, save it. So now you would get to understand when I am creating child class object, if the parent class is also created, only then parent class constructor will be called. Right team? So let us just try to understand. So what does it say? I'm creating child class object, but your parent constructor is called. The reason is that here it says, right, it creates the superclass object first. So it is internally creating your parent class object. So that is the reason parent class constructor is executed. Then the initialized superclass attributes are then inherited by the subclass object. So now inheritance takes place, it seems. That means that a login method, whatever are defined in parent class are inherited, and so you are able to call this login. Okay. And then finally followed by the creation of subclass object. So how can we see that in practical? First parent class object and then child class object. How can we see that in practical team? By creating child class constructor, isn't it? So now we'll just go for our child class. This is child class. So let us create a constructor here also. So let me see, this is child constructor. Save it. This PPT is already available as PDF in your PBL app team. Okay, PPTs cannot be shared. I can share this code, okay? I can share this notepad, but not the PPTs. You have to log into PBL app and go through it. That's the only option. Okay. So Now we get to see the sequence execution. So first parent class constructor, then child class constructor, and finally whatever the steps. So in this one step, these two are happening. Okay. Because it is also inheriting, that is the reason when you are able to say c1.login, though login is part of parent class. Is that clear, all of you? Okay. Now, the constructors of the superclass are never inherited by the subclass. This is the only exception to the rule that subclass inherits all the properties of its superclass. So we have understood that your child class will inherit all the properties of parent class, but there are certain exceptions. In that, the first exception is that constructors are not inherited. Okay, so constructors can never be inherited to your child class. Okay, so these are some of the exceptions you will have to. And there is also one more exception, that is private members also will not be inherited. Okay, we'll see anyways going forward. This is a simple example, team. Okay, so like whatever we have just seen as in this parent and child class, here it has this way employee and manager extends employee. Okay, then when you have when you have same method defined. Say for example, I have in parent class, let me say I have a method called display here. See you have posts both in Facebook and as well as in Instagram also, right? But we might need to just give their own different way of approach. Okay, so similar to that. So I have a display method here, void display. Okay. So in this void display, you might have me could say this is out, this is parent display. Okay. Now the same way, say that the same display method is also written in child, but child class has a different definition. Child class says that child display. The definition is different, but the method name is same. Now what will happen? So now I can, when I say C1 dot display, which one will be displayed, team? Can anybody tell me? What will be displayed here? It is child display. So this is what called as method overriding. Method overriding means your parent class have already defined a method, but in child class, your definition for the same method is different. You have your own definition. Then you can redefine as per your business requirement as a child, and whenever you call the method, your priority will be given to your parent, to your class, that means the child class. It's a respective class method. So, child class display method will be invoked. But say that I wanted to give a reference to my parent class also, that is when I can go for super here. Kaushiki did not understand. See, Kaushiki, it is nothing but you have a post method in Facebook. Post method is there. In the same way in Instagram also you have a feature called post. But there the post is different and here the post is different. Whatever you are posting here will in Facebook will not reflect in Instagram, and whatever you are posting in Instagram will not reflect in Facebook, because that logic is different and this logic is different, but the feature name is same, post. Okay, so in such scenarios you can redefine. So now here I am saying in parent class I already have this display and it has a certain definition. Okay, but now here also I have a feature called display, but I have my own definition. I cannot copy or inherit my parents' definition because I have my own definition. Then you can define, and this is what called as overriding. That means you are overwriting whatever definition you have defined in parent class is overridden in your child class. Is that clear to you? Okay, so that is about this. So yeah, I will share all the code at one go, team. Sure, I will definitely share. So that is about method overriding in child class. And if at all I wanted to refer parent class method in any of my child class methods, then I can say super. Okay. So here we are discussing about super keyword, right? So you can say super dot, which means that now here I have my own definition, but I wanted to link my parent definition also here. I wanted to refer. Then I can say super dot display. Okay. So now when you call your child class display, here it comes here, and because it says super dot display, it goes to parent class display. This will be executed and then it will come here and it will execute this. So both parent class and child class print statements, display statements will be used. If we didn't use display in child class, then the parent class is displayed. Correct. Shridinath, correct. Okay. So since we are calling super dot display, so we are getting parent display as well as child display as well. Okay. That is about super. The same way, super can be used to call constructors as well. Okay, so using super to call superclass constructors. So if present must be always the first statement executed inside a subclass constructor. Okay, so let us just look at it. So I have my child class here. Okay, so here there is a child class constructor, but there is no super. There is no super means it will by default have super, and that is how your parent class constructor is being invoked. So now what I will do? Now I will define one more constructor where it will accept say int x. Okay, I will say this out. This is parent constructor, parent one arc constructor, and I will just try to print the text value. Okay. So now when I am just just calling this way, is that parent one arc constructor displayed anywhere? No, right? Now what I will do, I'll come to my child class. Here I'll come to my child class constructor and I will say super. Okay, and I will pass say 7. Now which one will we call, team? If there is no super, it will call the default constructor, that is this parent. But here I am giving super of 7 means it will match with this integer parent one arc constructor and it will call this. Instead of saying parent constructor, now it will say parent one arc constructor. So let us just try to run this and execute. Can you getting team? Parent 1 constructor and it is printing 7, whatever we are passing here. Okay. Hope it is clear to you all. And the same way, say for example, I have one more child class. Let me say, one more child constructor. Let me just have this argument int 88, sorry, int x. Okay, this out control space. And now I just wanted to do this is child 1 constructor. I just wanted to print the text value. Okay, here. Okay, now what I wanted to do is I'm calling superclass constructor. The same way I can also call the child class, current class constructor also. How? Using this. What did we say here, team? This refers to current class, super refers to parent class. So I'm just saying this of, you can pass a value, let me say 99. What is that reel? You should know reel. I just took an example of no. Instagram, that's it. I didn't do anything else. Oh, sorry. If at all, there is one rule here, team, that is, if at all you are using this super or this, you have to put that in the very first statement, team. So first let us just run this. So you see here, child class object you are creating. So it will come here. It will try to execute your child class constructor. But there is a super of 7. So it will first go to parent class 1 constructor and it prints parent class 1 constructor print 7. So now what it comes to here and prints child class constructor. Okay. Now instead of this, what I will do is, instead of calling parent class, I will call this of int x to pass. This means you have to pass the value. Okay. So now which method will be called? Current class constructor. This always refers to current class. So current means child. Child of 99 means it will match with this. Okay. So let us now try to run this. So can you see here? Parent constructor. Why? Because first it is saying C1. C1 means first it will come here. Okay. So there is no super. So it will first go for its default super. That means parent class this one. So it's saying parent class constructor. Now it will come here and it is saying this of 99. This of 99 means what? Current class. So child 99 means here it means child 1 constructor. Done. And then it will come back here and now next statement is child's constructor. So that's how child constructor. So you just need to understand what is the importance of super and this. So you can call other methods like super.display. The same way constructors also using simply super keyword and same way this keyword. Are you all getting team? If you say super, it will call parent class constructor. Okay. So these are some of the things. So let us just check it here so that you get to know whether you understood or not. So here we have many examples. So please concentrate here and understand. Here there are three levels: grandparent, parent, and a child. Okay. A1 and B1 extends A1, C1 extends B1. Okay. Now in your main method, what is that you have here? Super and this cannot be used at the same time. They can be used, but not in the same method, because both of them will have to be given only in the first line. So if I'm using super here, then this has to be used in another constructor, but not in the same constructor. If you're talking about in the same method, no, they cannot be used. So here I have this public static void main C1 CA equals to new C1. So what will happen to you? First it will go to C's constructor C1, but there is no super. No super means it will create super. So it will go where? It will go to its super class. So B. There is no super. So it will create a default super. So it will go to its parent. So here. So first it prints A1's no arc constructor. And then it prints B1's no arc constructor. And then finally prints C1's no arc constructor. Is that clear to you all? The hierarchy? Did you all get this or not? So once again, so when you are creating C1 child class object, it will go for its constructor C1 here. But here, what did I say? If there is no super, it will create super by default. That's how it is. It invokes. It's a parent class constructor. So parent class constructor. So here it has another parent. So it's a parent. So A1, B1, and then C1's no arc constructor. Okay. So now let us just see. We are passing 10 here. So if you are passing 10, which one will it match with? It will match with this. Right? Then it is matching with this. So now here it says super of 100. So when it says super of 100, it will go to, it's a super class passing 100, so it is matching with this. And here it says super of 1000. So it will go still up and it matches with this. So it is A1's constructor 1000, and then B1's constructor 100, and then finally C1's constructor 10. Is that clear, all of you? Sridharan, you want me to unmute? We have a question. Okay. Can you raise your hand, Sridharan? Sorry, Shirdinath. Sorry, Shirdinath. M. Shirdinath, please raise your hand, so that if you raise your hand, your name will come up. I've sent you the request. You can speak now. Yes, Shirdinath, tell me.
Class B1 and C1 also consisting super keyword now.
Class B1 and C1, but they will be called only when there is no super mentioned there. Are you getting? So here, if there is no super, then it will take by default one super without any argument. But here there is explicitly one super here, right? Are you getting? So it will go for this super. This super will match with what? B, this one, not this B. It will match with this argumented construct. Are you getting? Shridinath? You went mute again. Okay? Right. So these are some of the things, team. Okay, similar examples are not given here. So multi-level hierarchy means we have seen here, right? This is a multi-level hierarchy. Okay, so that's it. So these are some of the things which I want all of you to just do Okay, and I'll share this sample this one. So first we have discussed about this encapsulation getters and setters, right? So I will just share this with you team. So for today, that's it. For today till this inheritance. This PPT cannot be shared. You can find this as PDF in your PBL app. Okay. So I will share this. Good. Please, all of you copy it, team. And then coming to inheritance, our parent class. And child class. Okay. And then we have div. Okay. Just for your reference, these are the topics that we have discussed in today's session. So those who don't have any questions, they can leave for the day. Those who have any questions, you can raise your hand, team. I will stop sharing. Those who have questions, you can raise your hand so that I can unmute you. First, you please copy this code. I'll give you a minute and then we can go to the questions. Others can leave. Those who do not have any questions, they can leave. So please work on inheritance hands-on team. I think I have already shared inheritance hands-on to you.